Okay, before we get into this intro, actually, you know what? Let's do this. So, hey, as we approach now, we're approaching U.S. Thanksgiving, which is a massive holiday, much bigger than our Thanksgiving, I do think. How do we create? How do we generate? How do we evolve? How do we build that attitude of gratitude? And
Yep.
how do we do it going forward?
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Yeah, I've had much better intros than that one. I just realized.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll start us off. So I'm gonna read a lot of quotes because I think we could go off of a lot of quotes as well and kind of break this down. But acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance, and that's Eckhart Tolle. Um,
Eckhart Tolle, love Eckhart. Have you ever read some of his books?
so I have
Or
not.
you're an Audible guy, so have you listened to some of his
I'm
books?
an Audible guy. Yeah. Yeah.
It,
Listen, we're,
um,
we're giving we're giving my secret, but I read too slow. I need somebody else to read for me. That's the trick of Audible.
Is it read too slow, really, DJ? Is it
Okay,
no?
listen. As
Um,
soon as I have the pages in front of me, I start falling asleep. I could have just woke up, but I'm falling asleep. Whatever
you,
that
you know,
is.
I find so in our we kind of built this area of a room with a bookshelf and two comfy chairs.
Oh no.
And when the sun's beating in on me and I'm reading, I just kind of like,
Yep.
and I wake up. And then there's times, well, perfect example is Saturday night. Woke up at I think 2:30, quarter to 3, and I just and my eyes were open. I read about 150 pages. They say read to go to sleep, and it's funny because I'm reading and I'm like, oh my god! And the book's on positioning. It's
You
all about
gotta be
positioning
careful
and
what you're
positioning.
reading. That's the
Well, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And I'm like highlighting and describing. And like, just so, I mean, for those of you listening or
Oh,
watching, you
look
can
at
see
this.
like when I highlight books and when I read books, I put tabbies, I highlight, I duck ear or dog ear, whatever they call it. But
And then
I mean,
dance.
all of a sudden 5:30 rolled around and I'm still reading and I'm just like diving into this book. And then I said, I'm gonna read some of this on Sunday. I didn't read a thing yesterday.
Oh,
But you know what? In flowing with our message and what we're talking about today, um, definitely, I'm grateful that books get a hold of me.
mm,
I love that you suggested this topic today, DJ, because gratitude, I think, is something that we miss. Like gratitude, taking things for granted. And if the last 20 months or so has taught us, 22 months has actually, probably more like 20 months has taught us anything, it's really, I think, how much we took for granted. Whether it be having family around more of, and I mean, I know there's really no such thing as work-life balance because we'll typically work 8 to 10 to 12 to 14 hours a day, but you can create that balance. And I agree with what Gary Vee says on this. He says you create the balance because you amplify the time with your loved ones to the 10th, right?
yep.
But I can tell you from my side of the proverbial lens, um, it took me a long time in my career to have balance. When I first started my career,
Yes,
obviously
yes, yes.
single, no wife, no kids, no nothing. And it was all work, right? Like every single one of my friends were from the office I worked at. Everything I did on weekends, I did with buddies from the office. So it was like this big whole clique kind of thing, or community, or what, I don't even know what you would call it. But and then like wife, kids, hockey, and I know you've been through it and you're probably going to go through it again with your young ones. For us in Canada, yes, it's all about hockey, and you meet so many people in hockey, and then you go through the friends from hockey, and then when hockey's done, you kind of don't have all of those friends because your association was hockey, and you realize you don't have any more.
Yep.
But never, and you know, I found a huge difference when I quit drinking. When I quit drinking, I found a huge difference in my friend groups, and being grateful for having really good friends in my life. Like a few, you don't need many, but I think you need a few. And being grateful, you know, especially and let's turn this towards business and sales, because I think that's really what people want to hear, right? Is,
Absolutely.
you know, in business, in sales, brother, you know it as well as I do, man. You can have some weeks where you're just like, what the fuck is going on, man? Like,
Yes.
I hate my job, I hate my career, I hate everything. And not really having that gratitude that, you know, I still have customers that like me.
Still have a
I
job.
still I
Still
still
wake
have a
up.
job.
I
I
mean,
still have a team. I still have the ability to leave a legacy. And you know, and I don't know, a couple of weeks
Mm,
ago or a couple months ago maybe, you and I talked about legacy and what it truly
yeah,
means, right? Like legacy is not like a, well, legacy is like a Elon Musk or a Bill Gates or you know,
of
but
course.
also legacy is, you know, I've had the privilege of changing a student's life.
Mm.
That's legacy. I've
Oh
had
yeah.
the privilege of sharing wisdom and a student picking it up and doubling and tripling their business. That's legacy, right? Like we could say things every day on this show, and the second somebody grabs a hold of it and does something with it, that's legacy.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for that. You know, like when we get a testimonial, or when we get somebody say, hey, you know what, your show is absolutely awesome, I love it. Hey Dan, your program has changed my life. Hey Dan, you know, and I've shared it before. I had a student say, you know, Dan, I landed this new customer, I was really happy, but what really made the difference is when I got home and my wife told me how proud she is. Like that's
Mhm.
leaving a legacy,
Yeah.
right? That will always be with that individual. Now, maybe not always at the forefront of their mind, but it will always be with that individual. You know, and as we, you know, as the US comes into Thanksgiving this week, um, such a great topic, attitude of gratitude. Because I think we tend to take a lot of that for granted, even now, right? As things start opening up, we take for granted what we didn't take for granted 16 months ago because we
Yep.
lost it, right?
Yep.
Like I took for granted the fact that you can just walk into a dealership when your lease is up and get a new vehicle, right?
Yeah.
I've had a hell of a time doing it, just on the weekend. You know, you take for granted, um, you know, being able to use your hand. Like for me, that's what I'm battling right now. Is you know, I'm going on 2.5 weeks for surgery. There's still a shooting pain inside my hand. And then I don't mean to complain or anything, but there's still a shooting pain. Like I'm scratching it constantly. There's a shooting pain inside my hand. I went to go clean up the garage and get all the snowmobiles in order for the winter and everything and create the launch ramp and all of that. And it's taking me 4 times longer to do anything that I need to do because
Right.
I'm like, I got to just brace with this hand kind of thing and move things around with this hand because this hand has no strength. So, but I'm grateful that I could feel my fingers. Do you know what I mean? Whereas as some people
Oh yeah.
might just focus on the fact that, you know, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And I continually tell myself, well, Dan, but you know what? Now your hand doesn't feel like it's going to explode, right? Like I think that it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
When
No,
really
absolutely.
when we come down to it, I mean, it doesn't have to be complex. You
No,
know, I
not at
read.
all. I mean, listen. So, and where I got this topic, it's kind of a really a big thing that really changed my whole mindset. Listening to the motivational videos, there wasn't for a time when I first started listening to the YouTube videos, I wasn't listening to anyone specific like a Zig or anybody, but just a compilation of kind of their best stuff. And I want to say it was Denzel Washington, maybe, I can't remember.
Oh,
But
is that one where it says
he,
listen to this every day if you want to change your life or whatever?
might be, but he,
Okay.
he talked about waking up every morning and kneeling beside his bed, and the first thing he did before grabbing his phone, doing anything else, was just basically thank God, thank whoever you want, but thank them for what you are waking up with or waking up to, and kind of waking up with that attitude of gratitude will really just change the whole direction of your day. And I did not believe it really until really doing it, and even following that with the self affirmations. I mean, those two things alone are just so powerful if you do those. But and that's kind of why I brought this up. It's more the mindset and what your mind can do, and I think Ryan has a good thing there. I find future mindset changing weekly, but understanding that you want to throw that out, that it's okay. One mindset doesn't change is to be the best humanitarian I can be. Yeah, that's
Mm.
you always choose the right, do the right thing, choose good versus bad. We all
Mhm,
have that.
mhm.
Matthew McConaughey, another one. Uh, Green Lights. If you haven't read that book, it's for everyone.
Great book.
But
Great book.
he talks about, he's very big on that and very big on the inside of us. And there's good and evil. And whatever we're feeding that wolf inside is what's going to come out. And so the best thing to do is start your day with one of those good emotions. Zig Ziglar, another said I'm going to launch a lot of quotes at you guys, but gratitude is the healthiest of all human emotions. The more you express gratitude for what you have, the more likely you will have even more to express gratitude for.
Mm. Well,
Uh,
think about it like this. If you have customers, when you start taking those customers for granted and are not grateful for those customers, typically somebody else will come in and take those customers.
Bingo.
It's every night I go to bed, and before I go to sleep, I lie down and I close my eyes and I just think. I become thankful to the universe for everything I have, for the day, for the lessons, and here's like this could go into so many different levels, and I love it's one of my favorite things, right? Like there's 5 things they talk about: sales strategy, personal development, industry news, productivity, and stickability. Those are the 5 things that I call my core DD5 topics, where those are the 5 things I talk about. And
We're DD5 topics. I like
the
that. Can you?
DD5 topics. Yeah, well. So here's the strategy that I came up with, and I'm grateful to a lot of my coaches for sharing this with me, because they say, if online, if you're going to talk about something, pick 5 things to talk about, and that's it, and just talk about those 5 things, and those 5 things will keep you rounded, right? So today it's personal development. Right? We
Yep.
talk about industry news on almost every show. We talk about productivity. Stickability is a book I read from Greg Reed, who's part of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And I first got introduced to Greg when him and Sharon Lechter wrote Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Wicked book. If anyone has not read that book is awesome. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And that is just like Matthew McConaughey says, there's good and evil. And that's the devil inside of us that the whole book is him having a mental conversation with the devil as he's writing Think and Grow Rich, which, as you know, is the #1 best-selling personal development book on the planet, and
Absolutely.
has been and always will be. I think the only book that sold more copies is the Bible. But
True.
if you think about this, right?
And they do
It's
have it on Audible, folks. They do have
Yes, Outwitting the Devil on Audible. Awesome book. Awesome book. I think I actually have it on both Audible and on my iPad. Um, but I tried the digital book for a while. I'm a, I don't know. I'm a paper guy. But
You're old
anyways,
school. You're old
I,
school.
I am. You know what, brother? I like the whole, going in and then I do this where I put sticky
Yeah,
notes
yeah,
in and
yeah.
I
Okay.
highlight and I
You
and
can't
I
do that.
tab it.
I can't do that on my phone. I got it. I got you.
No, and listen, the phone highlights and all that, which is great. But
Yeah,
it's just different. So
it's
yeah,
not the
to each
same.
his
Yeah.
own.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
I bring probably 6 of these on vacation with me, and every day I'll kind of pick one and say this is the one I'm going to read by and so typically what I do is I read a book entirely, and then I go back, and the second time I read it I start tabbing it, right? And mainly
I like it.
because I find that when you're it's like, oh my God, this is a great idea. And don't get me wrong, I might jot something down on the page or something. Or for me, I use these guys a lot, little cards. But anyways, I know I'm getting way off topic.
No, you're
So
good. You're good.
so the essence is that when we talk about these things, brings a different perspective. And in sales, Um, you know, uh, let's stay away from I'm grateful I have a job,
Yeah.
because I think that there's a whole other level to it, because right, I mean, and you and I know, you and I talk about careers, not jobs.
Yeah.
Like there's jobs and there's careers. So let's focus on a career, because I believe as a career, a lot of these strategies that we're going to deliver and a lot of the things we talk about apply. With a job, not really, because a job is not meant for you to continuously get better at. It's just kind of, you go, you punch your time clock and you trade your time for money. A career, you compound and you manifest greatness, right? And whatever personal greatness means to you, whatever business greatness means to you.
Absolutely.
But gratitude is the number one thing towards it, right? Like let's look at clients. When you're not grateful to have a client in, you tend to take them for granted. When you're not grateful for your spouse, you tend to take them for granted. When you're not grateful for your children, you tend to take them for granted. When you're not grateful to have a hand, you tend to take that for granted. Like
Absolutely.
all of these things, and I mean, we can dive into every little aspect. Like I am so grateful every morning to have my first sip of coffee. It tastes so good. I love it so much. And I mean, I know it sounds silly, but it's, I'm grateful when I learn a lesson on a sales call. I'm grateful when I try something and it doesn't work, because I realize that, okay, I'm one step closer to something that does. And I know some people are going to be like, oh my God, Dan, here you go. The whole,
Yeah.
10,000 ways not to create a light bulb, but I finally found the way that worked. But it's,
Yeah.
it's true.
You have to go through that though. Listen, and I'm grateful for the journey because that's what it is, guys. I mean, it's a
Mm,
journey. Life itself is a journey, but it's a journey. The sales process, landing customers, making new customers, that relationship, building that relationship, all of those things. I mean, if you uh, I mean, you hear Dan and I, and I'm sure everybody listening right now can just throw out even just one customer that they, or even are thinking of that one customer that's not just a customer but a friend. It always happens. It always will, and that's really the difference from having and using this and using all of what it's for of being here on this earth as humans as we are, and it's not using them as just to fund your career or your job, but that they're actually there and they're a person just like you. They deal with things just like we do, and once we can realize that and we just can take a step back, especially calling new clients, especially calling clients around now, calling customers around now. You have no idea. We have no idea what they're about to get into. Are they struggling because they're, the in-laws are coming in? Oh, the dreaded in-laws. I don't know if anybody has that, but it's like, oh God, here they go. Get ready for it because it's that
See,
time.
this is why I always thought, people might sacrifice me for this one. So I
Oh
always
God.
thought Americans were crazy, because we have Thanksgiving in October. So I got a whole month and a half for the in-laws have to come over again. Y'all do it in like 3 weeks
Oh,
apart. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah,
And
it's one after the other. They're typically staying the whole damn time. That's the
and for me, I sit there and I go, "Why are you guys are crazy, man? Why would you do that?" But of course I'm harassing and I'm kidding, but
no.
but on the flip side of it, it's like, fish is good only for a couple of days in the fridge, and it's no good no more. You know what I mean? And I can't believe I just said that live, but I did, I guess. So
No, that
I'm
was
very
perfect.
grateful none of y'all are putting buckshots through my window right now. That's what I'm
Yes.
grateful for. And I'm grateful that DJ's always got this big ass smile on his face, because
Oh
he's always
man.
smiling. Don't y'all agree with that? Like this man's smile. We had, and I don't know if I've said it before on the show, but on Restream in the back end, if anyone has ever used it, when you click on the recordings, it'll show like 9 different recordings, and every single one, hands down, there's a
so
DJ with his big smile. And I
so
remember
listen.
taking the screenshot and sending it to you and say, what's the same in all of these pictures? You're like, I don't know. We're giving content. I'm like, no, dude, your smile, like you're always smiling. It's so awesome.
Listen,
So
okay,
just
and
thank
so
you, brother.
and for being grateful for that, I will follow up with what I'm grateful for with you. But first, I will tell you, it's a blessing and a curse, people. It is not so. I do not have the smile on my face all the time. because I'm in sales and I've been trained to do this. I promise you, that's not why. I've done it from a young age. I did it so I played baseball, and you'll love this story, Dan. And I can't believe I'm telling the story on here, but I will.
Isn't it funny how that works? You just kind
Maybe
of start going and you
yeah,
go,
yeah,
yeah.
maybe it'll at least give everybody else and make everybody else's day. But so I was a pitcher. I'm a lefty like you, and I was a pitcher in baseball. And I didn't realize why the other teams were getting so pissed off at me until they would say, "Stop smiling! Why are you smiling?" I smiled even when I was pitching. I couldn't stop smiling. I just I like to go
That
to
is
the
awesome.
I like to go to the. I think I'm just that lazy that it takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. It's I don't whatever you guys want to say that it is, but that's what it is. I just always my daughter's the same way. So thankfully, one of them.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, good. You know what? I'm glad. So let's, you know what? Let's give everybody, because I think it'll be very cool. Because I mean, obviously, gratitude is a huge thing coming into this time of year.
Yeah.
You know, I've always found people's demeanors change at this time of year. Like think about this for a second. What would our world be like if we could take the Christmas spirit and have it last 12 months? And
Right.
then the time frame that the Christmas spirit is here, enhance that even more. Like, where would we be as a civilization? Where would we be as people? Where would we be as emotional, mental health? Because you see such a shift in people at this time of year,
Absolutely.
right? Like no
But
matter
at the
what's
same,
happening.
I will tell you though. But just like the Matthew McConaughey thing and the good and the bad inside of us, you do see that shift in a lot of people that love this time. And I'm one of those people. This time of the year is like the most amazing time for me. I don't know what happens. Something happens to me. I think it was just from a kid. My mom was really big about this time as well, and family. But there's the flip side, and there's a lot of people. My wife, my wife is full of anxiety and stress during this time, and you see it when people are out there shopping and fighting for the last things and getting, just come on, people. Like this.
But you know what, DJ? Here's my thought on it. I love the spirit. I hate the commercialization.
Yes, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's where the
It's not
anxiety,
about
the
that.
anxiety comes from your wife, is the commercialization, is the, you know, for lack of a better term, everybody feels like they got to one up the next person, or it's like, you know, you
Unfortunately,
have kids, we have kids. It's like even Steven and all this other crap. It just, it's, you know, if I could go back and rewind, it would be simplistic. You know, like for us, and I hope there's no kids watching. For us, it's, you know, as the kids are growing. Where are your kids right now? Are they in the room?
they're not. No, we're
Okay.
safe. We're
So
safe.
as you're growing, right, as you're growing up, it's like, and obviously, I mean, I know there's going to be a multitude of different cultures listening to this, but it was always, you know, 50 presents from Santa, 2 presents from mom and dad. I would actually flip that if I were to do it again. If I were to know now what I knew then, because when you have to flick that Santa not real switch, um, it just, all the spirit disappears for a year or two. And I know you've been through it. You're gonna
Sure.
go through it again with your little ones, you know. And it's like when our daughter still believed and our son didn't, and our son knew, it
Yeah.
was really cool for those 2 years because our son was now part of it.
Yes.
But
Part of
then
yes.
it's and
And that
you
is
know, I
so
mean,
cool. You're right. I love that before, and yeah, I will get to
Mhm,
do that again. And I know Cooper, the one who will reach it before my youngest, when he knows, he will definitely buy into the whole thing. And yes, that was so. You see, even the team feeling of then your child kind of joining the team of team mom and team dad.
mhm,
Let's make the younger
mhm.
one happy. And man, that's like you're doing something right if you get that. If you have
Yeah,
that.
but I mean, even above that, right? Is the, like, if we go back to, because I don't want to get into that side of the
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah,
It's not about gratitude, but
no,
if we, you know, if we look at the spirit, right? And you said the anxiety. To me, that's the commercial. Like, I don't get me wrong. I enjoy the spirit of Christmas. I enjoy Christmas, but I'm not a big, Halloween was more of my holiday than Christmas. And I know it sounds crazy, but I just enjoyed that. You know, getting the house all ready and like, just
Scaring the
the
shit out of
like, yeah, for lack of a better term, but it was also the, wow, this is a pretty cool idea, like we have friends of ours who went to a Halloween party, and they were kind of walking through the woods, and all of a sudden these people came up to the ground and did the Thriller dance, right? Like, to me,
What?
that's
That's
that, yeah,
awesome.
you see, you're like, yeah, that's so cool,
Yeah,
man.
that's
And to me, that's way more awesome than like decorating a house up, right? And like lights shining to music and all that. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this. Again, I love the season, I love the spirit.
yeah.
I
Wish it
just
could be year round. I do agree with you there.
it could, like what,
But that, but it could.
and
If we focus back on gratitude, which we're talking about,
mhm.
and we just always wake up grateful for whatever it is, the smallest things, just waking up that day, having another day to just try to make things better, attain your goal, hit
Mhm.
your goals, change your life. We have that day when we wake up, and just being thankful for that alone is what we should, if you could just focus on that. I mean, that's really what changed me. I mean, it changed me completely. But I'll tell you this. So I got another thing from Pinterest. It's this is and so just mind moves somebody created, but it said, did you know gratitude shields you from negativity, makes you at least 25% happier, rewires your brain, eliminates stress, heals, improves sleep, boosts self-esteem and performance, enhances the law of attraction, and improves relationships.
Mhm.
Now, uh, I can't say that these are all proven by anybody, but prove me wrong, because I think with gratitude and any of those things, you're going to get most of that outcome.
You are. I mean, listen, there's been, so for everyone watching or listening, whether live or afterwards on the podcast, go read Bruce Lipton's Biology of Belief.
Oh yes,
And there is
guy,
scientifically proven, for all of you that are, nah, there's no way, da, 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 scientifically proven
epigenetics.
that our belief changes everything. And if we believe we are grateful for XYZ, it changes it. Like, listen, here's the thing. Gratitude can be just as simple as not destroying your spirit, right? Like, think of
I like
sales
that.
for a second, right? Well, think about this for a second. And as a salesperson, and let's like literally
Yeah,
sniper scope this shit right into sales, because
let's do it.
here's the thing. As a salesperson, we deal with more rejection, more defeat, more everything than anything else. Like, if you're a dock worker, you go, you pick, you put things together, the odd time you might drop something, there's a little bit of a defeat. But in sales, it's like, you're 90 calls and you're 85 no's or 87 no's and 3 yeses. And then the next week you're 10 yeses out of 90 calls. And the next week you're 90 no's, right? Like, our dealing with
And sales were,
friction,
yeah,
are like, yeah, like, and I don't even know if it's, I'm going to call it failure, because it's not, because it's a
no,
stepping stone, but as a human being, the perception is failure. So the lens in which we see things, right? And I think everything needs to be reverted right back to the lens. What is the lens I'm looking at this, right? I've often said on a sales call, I'm either learning or moving forward. That's the lens I choose to have on every single sales call. I don't care how good or bad it goes. I'm learning or I'm moving forward. So if I'm not moving forward, and if the person is, I am not friggin' interested, go take a hike, I don't like the way you sound,
yeah.
I will try and learn. So I will ask a question, and I will ask a question to get educated on it. And if it doesn't work, I've still learned, because I hang up the phone. I go, man, am I ever grateful I didn't catch that person on a good day and invest 3 months of my life with them to realize that when there's a bad day, I'm a piece of crap and I'm gone, right? Like, think about that for a second as a sales rep. And if you change that lens, gratitude will follow, because be grateful that that person that just rejected you, be grateful that you didn't invest more time with that person.
Absolutely.
That phone call where the person and hung up on
Yeah.
you because they're having a
Thank
bad day.
you. I
Be
wish all of them would.
grateful you're
I wish
not the
all of them would
person that
say
screwed
yes
up.
or hang up on me. Yeah, that's
Well, but
that's
but
that's
even at
really
that,
is.
think about that, DJ. You call and they're like, I'm in the middle of something,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
hang up on you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I've had it. I mean, I don't know. I've had it many times.
Oh, I've
But
had
the
it.
thing
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
they hang up on you. Imagine you being the person that caused that problem. Like he's yelling at
Yeah,
you, he or she are yelling
yeah.
at you just because you happen to call at the wrong time. What if you were the person that caused that stress in their life? How would they be treating you? I am so grateful I'm not ever going to be that person. And I
Oh
think
man,
that
that's so
that right?
good. Yeah.
Like think of
Yes, you're
how
so
that
right.
lens totally changes that. What a dick
Yeah.
to,
Oh,
oh my gosh, I am
yeah.
so that dude's
Who is
having
he
a
pissed
really
at?
bad
Was
day.
not me. I like that. No, that is such a
Yeah,
good way to look at it too. But that,
right.
and that's that mind shift. That's that glass half full, half empty. The silver lining. That's all of those things. Yeah, it's insane. But oh man, I'll tell you a good story about that. So I had a customer, actually super nice guy. He's one of those customers, so I'm not gonna bring out anything more to kind of single him out. But he screamed at me first time I called him. I'm in the middle of something. Call me back in a week. Click. I'm like, okay. I marked it down. He said, call me back in a week. I called him back in a week. Literally a week. I called him. Said, hey, you told me to call you back in a week. I'm calling. He said, oh my gosh. Well, actually, I'm in the middle of something. I gotta call me back in another week. Click. Okay, he kept opening the door. Sure enough, this the third time though, because he kept telling me to call him. He wasn't telling me no, he was telling me to call him, but he was in the middle of something. He was pissed off. He was a dick the whole time. And but the third time though, it was, hey, oh, you keep calling. Thank you for calling. And I'm like, what? Like I think he was testing me. He was literally testing me,
Hmm.
see if I would follow up, because then it totally his
Either that or he's bipolar.
yeah, or that. Either way, either way, hope you're doing well. But yeah, it's yeah, that same thing. And it was he
And so
was
what was the end
real
result? See, because
end
personally,
result.
I would have been like, screw that. I'm not calling
End
you back.
result. I did end up working with him, but exactly to your point, he was pissed off at somebody else, um, and he found a reason to be pissed off about anything. So yeah,
There you go. Yeah.
should have
Well, I
seen the
mean,
sign.
you know what? Hey, you know what? From a gratitude perspective, you
Uh,
could now share that story with another prospect and say, "Hey, I'm grateful that I actually did call the person back, but I'm also grateful that I found out what type of person they were before we got into it."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wasn't fun. Wasn't fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like and I guess so. So here's the thing, and is if we want to get, and I apologize, I keep scratching my scars healing, so it's like driving me nuts. Um, Here's the thing: if we look at it, when COVID hit, how many of us are grateful things like Zoom, things like Restream, things like these video conferencing Teams, Skype, and all these things um, didn't crash? Because I think personally,
Oh,
it helped a lot of people stay in touch and in tune, right? Because there's something about, I can remember when it first hit. Um, my wife had to start working from home, and I said, well, you work in this office, I'll work in the spare bedroom. And I kind of moved my computer in there and ran, and because I do all my streaming and stuff, like I'm running cables through the house and all this kind of stuff, and like at the end of the day I would unhook all the cables, bring them back in here, fold them up and all that. But um, video conferencing, I feel, kept me connected to the human being.
absolutely.
And I truly think without it, there would have been a lot more issues. Now, on my end, um, you know, feeling trapped, feeling cornered, feeling all of the above. Because when COVID hit, it's like that spring seemed to take forever to come, that nice weather. And I think, the nice weather. So, we look at, okay, another perfect example, and I know I'm jumping, but another perfect
Are
example.
you good?
I am like so grateful to see the sun during the day because of how quick it gets dark at night. I am so grateful to be able to work from my studio as opposed to being in an office that didn't have windows, that where I felt like I was glued to my office chair and not being able to go outside because I'd drive to work at night and I'd come home at night in dark. I'd drive to work in the dark and come home at dark, right? Like I remember living out in BC, and if any of y'all are out in BC, God bless you, and I hope you're doing well after all the issues last week. But One thing that I found in BC that was really hard for me to get over was in the winter how wet it was in Vancouver. Like I was in North Van, and it was just raining, 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 and it just like
Oh,
it
that'll do
became
something to you. Yeah.
depressing.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
if you're, and that's I
Hmm.
feed off the weather, and I mean I need sun, man. I need sun. Sun, just having the sun does something to you.
I
Um,
I got a buddy of mine runs a warehouse I deal with. Great guy, but sun is his
I
crypt.
need,
Like
yeah, yeah.
no sun is his kryptonite.
Hmm.
Right? So he literally, his entire demeanor changes in wintertime. And he has to go away once every 6 weeks, 6 to 7 weeks. He
Oh,
goes away and he just does 3, 4 day trips. So he goes away and
smart.
he just soaks up the sun and then comes back and he's refreshed. And it was crazy. It was one of
And
the
guys,
craziest kind of Hulk transitions I've
and
ever seen in my life.
and see, and that's just a perfect example of self-awareness. You got to be aware of you how what is affecting you, and the gratitude, and he was aware that that was bothering him, and when he went back, even those few days that he missed of work, of production, of kind of moving that needle to where he wanted it to go, it helped up the production when he came back. And that's, yeah, I mean, meditation. I use meditation for that same thing. Uh, Deepak Chopra does a bunch of great quick 3 minute, 5 minute videos of just even meditation at your desk. You just got off
Mhm.
the worst call of your life, you know what to do, and just teaches you the techniques. And man, meditation has been huge for me, as well as the self awareness and kind of the learning myself with everything else.
So
But yeah,
Deepak was in Toronto one time,
oh yeah,
and my wife and I went, and oh
I love
man,
that
it
guy.
was awesome. And so what happened was he's standing on stage, and and just his voice is calming, right? And he's
Yes,
standing on stage, and he says, okay, so everybody close their eyes. I'm going to teach you guys a meditation, and I love meditation. But he closes your eyes, and he says, okay, now goes through a little bit of breathing. He says, but now focus on the tips of your fingers, right? And so even if, as us right now, the tips of our fingers, they're just the tips of the fingers. But within 30 seconds, if you just close your eyes, you stop listening to everything, you breathe deep 5, 10 times, and then you focus on the tips of your fingers. All of a sudden, you start feeling the blood go in the tips of your fingers. And at that point,
that's
when he did
awesome.
that, and I was sitting there and I was like, whoa, like I was like, this is so, because the blood is flowing through us, but because we are unaware of it, we can't focus, like, and until we put our focus. And then he says, and now feel your fingertips getting hot. And it's like you start feeling them getting hot, and you feel the blood hit, and you feel the tips getting hot. And it was friggin' cool. Like, I love Deepak Chopra. I think he's awesome.
Well,
um
and I want to go into that a little bit, what you said, because yes, the power of that is the focusing, is focusing
yes.
on, and really being focused on. And when you can, we have to realize, I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, all those guys who wear the same outfit all the time because they don't want that extra choice, and they believe that we only can physically make so many choices in a day, which I believe that as well. But they it's the focus, and so we have so many choices that we're constantly doing that we don't even know that we're making. I mean, just waking up, you're making so many different choices that you don't realize, because a lot of them are automatic. But
Hmm.
when we get lost into that, have you ever seen the movie I love is Click with Adam Sandler, where he has that remote
Hmm.
control that can control that's the greatest example of that autopilot that we tend to be on a lot of our life, where these are the regular motions that we're just following, that we tend to be like, oh, you said that, what? I don't even remember you saying that, because you were somewhere else and your focus was not there. Another, I don't know if it was Deepak or somebody else. I think it was another one of those great guys that teach the meditation and focus, but just went into, you know, studying that focus with your kids, with your wife, with whoever you're talking to. Try not to think of anything else in the moment that they're talking to you, and focus only on them. Nothing else matters
Hmm.
except for
Hmm.
the person right in
Hmm.
front of you. And
Hmm.
that, yeah, exactly what you said. That focus. It's that focus and the power of focus. Everybody around you is
Well,
going to feel
and also it's the
it. Your customer will feel it. Your customer is going to feel
mhm,
it.
mhm. And also I think DJ as well. I mean, like, so as we come wrapping this up,
Yeah, yeah.
how do we apply this in our life? And it comes down to choice. Everything we do comes down to that, and the
Everything.
choice to say to yourself, you know, and I would say, even for the next 2 weeks, if you were to consciously be aware and say, after every interaction, I'm going to make a choice to figure out what was awesome about that, right? Not what was bad, but again, the
Yeah, yeah. The
choice
silver lining.
to focus on the positive. And like, okay, so this didn't quite go, but what did I learn? What am I grateful for inside of what just happened? And I think that's a good way for us as individuals to really start making this a practice, as opposed to, it's really great because I listened to it for 45 minutes on November 22nd at 10 to 10:45 a.m. And
Yeah.
then on November 23rd, you forget all about it. Or 6 weeks from now on January 5th, you forget all about it. Or, like this is the thing, right? Is I think, this time of year, everyone's going to start talking and focusing on gratitude and joy and energy and excitement and all that. And then come January, it's like, okay, New Year started. Let's crack the whip again and get back down to goal setting and goal achievement and all this. And all of it goes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Like it takes individuals and unique perspectives of individuals, consistent work of individuals, a dedication that is the way you want. Like it's just, you know, you don't have to go any further than New Year's resolutions, right? You don't have to go any further than that to talk about gratitude. People
Yeah.
go in and it's taken them 5-6 years to get out of shape, consistently not eating the right thing, not doing right exercise. And they walk into the gym on New Year's, on the 2nd of January, because that's their New Year's resolution, is I'm going to lose weight. And within 3 weeks,
I'm guilty.
they like, oh,
I'm
I'm
guilty.
getting
I'm
results.
guilty. I did it a lot. I
No,
did it so much until I really became
but
aware.
DJ, it's that I'm not getting results. Well, it's
Yeah.
taken you
You got to
years.
stick to it.
Be grateful that you went from 3 minutes on the bike to
Yeah.
7 minutes on the bike.
Yeah.
Like I think as a society, we need to break it down and just bring it back, rein it back in, because
Yeah.
it's and I know I'm the same way. You're the same way. It's like over the summer, I did so much work that it's like I shredded all this weight and I got rid of like the friggin' pelican thing underneath my chin and all this.
So
And
then
it's
we
like the
are very
first thing
similar.
I
We
do.
just did it.
Yes, we are.
Literally last year, so last year, March, I weighed 255 pounds.
Wow. Wow. Good for you, brother.
I weigh 182 now, actually. So
Good for you. Wow. See? That's awesome. But it's step by step.
step by
And
step,
and
yeah,
and, and
and sticking
truly,
with it, finding what works
yeah.
for you. Be aware of what works for you. Know your. Listen, I need. I'm a structured. I'm a. Hey,
Oh, there's Jeff.
Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks for joining. I'm a structure guy. I need, if you teach me a structure, you teach me a process, I will stick to it without any failure. But you tell me to make my own process, good fucking luck. Good luck. I'm all
So
in as
you're
far
grateful
as
to the people that help you make processes.
yes, I'm very grateful. Very, very
All
grateful.
right. Close it out with a quote, brother. Close it out with a
All
quote. I
right.
know
Well,
you've
this
had
is
a
a good
couple. I
one.
hope we didn't use them all.
No, got it. Let's save one of my favorites for last, Maya Angelou. And it's be present in all things and thankful for all things.
Mm. Brian Byro, dear friend of mine and great mentor of mine, often said, pay attention to the woo, the window of opportunity. And he says, that woo is present in every conversation, in every thought process. And when you see the woo, seize it. The window of opportunity to change that lens, the window of opportunity to change that perspective, the window of opportunity, to change somebody's day. I think it's great. Thanks for bringing this topic to the table, DJ.
No, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you for everything you do. And thank you guys for joining us.
And Jeff says, until you blow your knees out.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, everybody.
There's that. Thanks, guys.